Hello, friends. How are you doing today? Really? How are you? My name is Kirsty, and this is It Expired? So, I don't know if my lighting is a bit wonky or if it's just because it's perpetually dark outside. So, if things look a little bit off, that's probably why. It's the fact that we live in darkness at this point in the winter. We are so close to longer days. It's around the corner. Here is my disclaimer. As always, please don't use expired makeup. I know what I'm doing. I mean, I don't, but I'm pretending I know what I'm doing. But I'm also, like, taking the risk for myself, and, like, if something happens, that's on me. I will take the blame, and I'm okay with that. But I don't recommend others do what I do. Let's backtrack to last week, see what I used for the week, and then move right along. Unfortunately, I did not get any photos again this week. I don't know. I've been busy, and then in the mornings, like, it's chaos, and I don't know. Between having to leave early to like account for the icy roads and essentially hurrying my butt up to get ready to give myself that time, I just don't have the extra 5 minutes to take a appropriate looking photo, something that looks okay, something that comes out where you can see what's going on here. With that, let's just move on back. So I haven't worn lashes in like, I don't know, a couple weeks, months, couple months, and I almost feel weird with them now. I used to feel naked without them, and now I just feel like a lot going on here. I feel like I'm going to float away, just flutter off. But let's see what I've got last week. So let's get started here. Oh gosh, did I just get lip gloss everywhere? It went in my hair. I think we're safe. I think we're safe. Okay, let's get started here with the Makeup Revolution Ghost Lights Vivid Baked Highlight. This was a Halloween highlight probably 6 or 7 years ago now. It's got a little skull in there. It doesn't have a ton of use. Why? Because you don't use a lot of highlight on a day-to-day basis. That's pretty much the bottom line, and I have over 100. I would say over 100 individual. Looking at my actual spreadsheet where I have everything, which is where I grab my 5 products from randomly, it's not at 100, but due to the fact that I do have a lot of like face palettes and highlight palettes that have multiple shades, I would say I have over 100. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. I was going to say that I haven't bought a highlight in a while, but that's a lie. I would just be completely lying to you. Makeup is my joy. It's my happy place. Yes, I'm trying to actively purchase less, reel it in, move on back, use up some of the stuff I have, but I am still purchasing here and there, just less than I normally would annually. But this did get a lot of love this week. I do really like it. I know it needs more love, for sure it does, but it's gonna go home and I really enjoy it. Next here is my Arbonne blush. This is probably like 12 years old. I know I had a friend give me a bunch of these prior to when I moved to where I'm living now, and I've been here for almost 11 years. So this is probably 12 years old. This, if I didn't say, is in the shade Berry. It is very, very dark. So yes, I used it all week, but I had to go super, super light-handed with it due to the fact that if I floof my brush in there a little too much, it's way too dark for me. It is definitely aimed at a deeper skin tone, which I am not, as we can tell. I am in my winter phase, which is almost translucent. So this might not be my ideal shade, but if I go light-handed, I can make it work. So it is going to go home. Again, if you missed it last week, it's literally due to the fact that it is so old, I would not feel comfortable decluttering it to someone else. So it's either try to give it some love or it's being thrown out. And I don't like doing that. So it's going to try and get some more love. Next here, speaking of old, well, this isn't not quite as old, I guess. This is probably 9 or 10 years old. This is my Guerlain lip gloss, the Gloss Denfer. Gloss Denfer? I don't know. I'm not French, let's be honest. I am Canadian, but I missed that class. So, we're just going to call it the lip gloss in shade 463. Now, this has an absolute ton of windowing happening. You can see that. It is so close to being done. It is just going to go back into my bag until I finish it, which I am planning to do before the end of December. I've got realistically 2 weeks left because then I am off work until January, and I'm probably not going to be wearing that much makeup during that time. Like, there's a couple holiday things I need to do, but like, other than that, no, no. So I'm going to realistically try and finish this in the next 2 weeks while I'm at the office. This here is my She Glam. I don't know if you can see that, burnt the actual, I have a raised blister there. I definitely put my hair straightener on my wrist. So that is really hurting right now because I just did this and now I've got a blister coming. It's got a rash happening. I'm doing good for myself here. This is my She Glam Wretched Romance liquid eyeliner. It came to me, it just took a second. This was in the shade Gorgeous because it was the Halloween collection. It's a really pretty red. I swatched it last week. Whatever. It is probably 5 years old. So I did actually play with this quite a bit as a double liner, but then during the end of the week, I was like, I don't want to keep playing with a double liner. So I started using this as a lip liner, and let me tell you, it was like a lip stain. I loved it. So I'm probably going to use it up that way. I had a lot of fun with it that way. I just thought that was an interesting way to use this, and whatever works, right? So it's going home, and I think that's how I'm going to try and use it in the future. Last here, as if this is not falling apart at this point, it is literally like the base is coming off. It's falling apart. It is so old. This is probably 9 or 10 years old. This is my Buxom Dolly's High Roller palette, I think is what it was called. I don't know why they don't put names on things. It makes me absolutely just a little bit insane, just the tiniest bit cringy. It's fine. I've had some caffeine today. This is a face palette with a couple eyeshadows that are boring ass bitches, but they're fine. I definitely use them with other shades, palettes, yada yada yada, because these are so boring. I could not use just these 4 colors for the week, but I did use every single color at least a couple times throughout the week, so it did get some love. This bronzer has to be so close to hitting pan. It has to be. The dent is dentin in there. These two, not so much, but I do really like them. I think they're really pretty. So this is going home, even though it is hella old, because I do really like the face colors. I do. The eyeshadows, not so much, and maybe they won't get nearly as much love. And honestly, what I should do with this is try to depot everything and put them somewhere else, just because the packaging is so freaking bulky because of whatever these were. Actually, I think I know what this was, and I think it came up this week, and I'm a little bit about it because it's old as shit. But yeah, I don't have the patience to depot. I get really nervous because I don't like breaking things, and I just don't have the patience to sit there like super gently and take things out. And obviously, like at this point, they're not coming out, so it would be some work. But let's see, it just takes up so much space in my collection, but because I like those face colors so much, I've kept it, and I'm going to continue keeping it, and maybe one day I will depot. We shall see. My wrist is really hurting. Like, can you guys see that? Like, you can see the redness. I don't know if you can see the blister. That hurts, man. Got it good. Hair straightener won that round. Let's continue on to this week. You know what? I'm going to start with this because I want to test something. This is my Buxom dual-ended lip gloss in, I don't know, Dolly and Dolly. Yeah, one's just a matte and one is a more of a glossy gloss. But I think... yeah, I'm pretty sure this came in here. That seems to fit pretty well. So I'm going to say this is like 9 or 10 years old as a gloss. I honestly thought that it was a mascara in there and it was gone, but I think it might have been the gloss. This is fine. If you know Buxom, it has a tingly, and I've got the tingly. It's not overwhelming, it's not uncomfortable, but I can definitely still feel it. So whatever that ingredient is in here has not gone off, because yes, I'm a little tingly, but it doesn't hurt. It's not uncomfortable. It is the same tingle as always. And I did sniff these before I put them on. I did little patch tests with them as well. No issues. So I'm going to use this for the week. They are so tiny. Like, there can't be very much product in either side of this. So, I mean, maybe I'll put it on my 2025 list. I've got a few things on the go for the rest of 2024. I've got like 3 glosses already that I really, really, really want to finish. So I don't think I'll be able to throw this in there. We've only got a couple weeks left. But I do think I can finish this up in 2025. I hope so. I don't know if I've ever actually used this. And maybe that's why it's still good, because I don't know if I've ever freaking used it in like 9 years. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Let's move on. Alright, let's move to my Makeup Revolution Simpsons Treehouse of Horror Spooktacular face palette, I think. Oh, it's on the back. Maybe just read the writing on the packaging. The Spooktacular face palette. I don't know why I was trying to remember like it wasn't here. I don't know. It's been a day already, I guess. Anyway, this is super freaking cute. It has the indents of Bart, Lisa, and Maggie. I don't know if you can see them. They are starting to fade actually quite a bit because I have traveled with this a few times, because if I'm going to go home to visit my parents, or I think we went to Banff, Jasper, I don't know, we went to the mountains a couple times, and it's so much easier for me to grab a face palette that has everything in it than try to grab a blush, a bronzer, and highlight separately. This just makes my life easier for travel. So this has come with me a couple times. I think it's 4 years old, so not as old as a couple other things, but it's getting up there. However, due to the fact that the imprints of the faces are starting to wear down, I know it has gotten some love over the years, and I really like it. I really like the colors. The blush is a little bright. I wish it was more of like a mauvey tone than a bright, bright pink. But it works. Like, I can make it work and have it seem quite natural. So it's fine. It's A-okay with me. With that, let's move on. My hair is just doing whatever it feels like today. And it's fine. It is what it is. I don't care. It's the weekend. I'm not going anywhere. It's not lovely outside. And I'm going to be spending the rest of the day cooking and cleaning like the adult that I am. So, this is my Becca Aqua Luminous Perfecting Foundation in the shade Porcelain. This is probably, when did Becca go out of business? Was it 2020? Was it that long ago? I feel like I got this like right when Becca was just finishing going out of business. It was at the very end of it. So probably like 4.5 years old, something like that. And what I hate about this foundation is the damn component. I hate a dropper. I hate it so much because it never picks up what you need. It's just, so I end up having to like tip it and dump it anyway. I don't know. I hate a dropper. I don't think I've used this a ton. I really like it though. It is more like a skin tint, so it is a nice light coverage, which I do appreciate, especially in the winter or when my skin is actually not acting up like a bitch. I love a good skin tint. So I do like this. I've used it quite a few times over the past couple of years. It definitely has not gotten the love it's deserved, and it is getting older. It is time to get some use on it. I just wish it was in a different package. I hate the dropper. I hate it for everything. Like, don't ever put things in a dropper, is all I'm saying. Whew, that was a rant. And honestly, it's because my serum right now is also in a dropper, and it's at the end where there's still a decent amount of product, but the dropper doesn't get to the bottom, so you still have to dump it over anyway. Just give me like an airless pump, and I will be a happy, happy consumer. But let's move on to the next product here. This is my Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics Perfecting Concealer in Fair Neutral. This is, I want to say, maybe 3 years old. I know Jaclyn Hill, I don't even think they're a company anymore either. I've got all these old-ass products with brands that don't exist anymore, but I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather just use them up. I'm not collecting them for the sake of collecting them. It's just happened to build and build and build, and I just haven't been able to get a handle on getting out more than I'm bringing in. And it's not necessarily just my fault. I get gifts, I get PR, and that really adds to the chaos. And I'm so actively trying to just get some things out of my collection. That is going to be my 2025 goal is, I don't know, maybe 50 makeup items. I think I'm at like 36 this year. So let's aim for 50 next year. I think I can do it. I think I can. Especially with being in the office 5 days a week. When I was working at home, I generally would get ready like sometimes none, sometimes no times a week. But usually like maybe 3 or 4 times. Now I'm getting ready 6 times a week. So double my usage. I should be able to get a lot more products out. Moving on. This is not super old, let's say 3 years. I haven't used it a ton, but there is some windowing happening, so obviously I've used it a little bit. I really like it. The color is just a teeny bit light for me, which again, I don't think that's ever been an issue in my life. Too light? That's shocking. And now I know I don't have the fairest complexion that there is out there. There are definitely individuals with lighter skin than myself, but I struggle to find things that work with my skin tone, with my undertones, because I am fair with cool undertones, and most things pull really, really yellow on me. I don't know why. It is what it is. So, this is, I think it's supposed to have, yeah, I mean, neutral. Neutral. That was a word. Neutral undertones usually work for me better than even, I don't know, like cool sometimes can pull weird. Warm pulls super weird. I look like an Oompa Loompa. So I struggle. I struggle with the right undertones a lot. This works really well. It's just teeny bit too light, but I can make it work. I can, absolutely. I can blend it out. I can mix just a little bit of foundation with it to darken it, just that smidgen that it needs, and it works really well. So I think I'm going to try and get probably 3 or 4 concealers out of my collection next year. I was so focused on this coastal sense concealer palette that I had, and I pretty much used up everything in that palette, which was amazing, but it took me like a year and a half. So I wasn't able to focus on my individual concealers, so they started growing and growing and growing, and suddenly there's like 15 of them, and I want to try and get out maybe 4 or 5 next year, I think. But let's move on. All right, last item here. This is my Fresh Prince Glam Light palette. This is fairly new. I got it this year. This is a 2024 purchase. I think this is one of like 5 palettes that I got this year. I want to say, because I got an Odin's Eye mystery box, and there were 3 in there, so that's kind of what like took me over. And then I got this, and then I think I only got like 1 more. I only got 4 or 5 palettes this year, and I am so impressed with myself because eyeshadow usually does me in. It is my vice. It is the thing that I have so much of, and I will never finish in this lifetime, because how do you finish a freaking eyeshadow palette when you've got 140 of them? I don't know. But I really, really reeled it back in this year. I feel like I'm just gonna give myself a little pat on the back, because 4 or 5 palettes in a year, for me, is a success. It's an absolute success in regards to not going overboard with just overconsumption throughout the year. And I know I still have so many that I will never finish these in my lifetime, but I still love makeup. It's still my happy place, so I like to bring things in, but I like to be mindful of it. This is stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. The mattes are beautiful. These shimmers are just, let me tell you, beautiful. I feel like a little fairy princess today. I really do. I've got Big Banks and, nope, Love Hurts. We got these 2 on my eyeballs today. And they are just so gorgeous. They are staying beautifully. There's no creasing happening. For once, my eyes aren't watering, so that's helping my case. But I love these. They are so beautiful, and I am so excited to use this for the week. That's it. That's all. That's everything. I will try to be better about photos, especially with a palette like that has just so much color and so much option, but I make no promises. Really depends what the weather is like, because if I have to account for an extra 15 minutes on my drive just because the weather is garbage, that's the 15 minutes I need to get the lighting together and take a photo that works, that you can actually see things, right? So we'll see what happens. But that's it. That's all. That's everything. Have yourselves a wonderful day, evening, weekend, journey, and I will see you all next time.